How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about ChargePoint. I know it's been a while since I did a ChargePoint video, but I was talking to you guys inside of the comments, and I'm like, you know what? A gentleman brought up saying, yo, Dre, you told us to buy ChargePoint when it was under $20. That's the area to load up. And of course, you would be green right now, but I also want to give you guys another update in regards to what my strategy is so we can continue to make money off of this play, especially if you believe in the long-term prospects. So I won't be wasting any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know those key levels in a bearish case scenario and as well as in a bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. The reason why this is important because the short interest does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know what was the buying and the selling behavior like on the institutional side and as well as on the retail side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for ChargePoint. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $24.81, being up 2.27%. On the low, it tested $23.68, and then on the high, testing $24.96. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 6.851 million shares, and then for the average volume over 10 trading days being at 8.436 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, but we tend to have low volume with ChargePoint anyways, but we ended up seeing some strength aside the stock, and of course for us longs, we love seeing that. And now when we take a look at the 1 year daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is right around 66.53. So you can see a lot of strength there, getting in that overbought territory there. And then when we take a look at the moving averages on our chart, we have strength above the 50-day. We also have strength above the 21-day EMA. We also have strength above the 100-day, but we are below the 200-day. So one thing that is very clear here, we are using this 100-day as support at $23.90. And you can actually see that and also being an area of support in the past as well. We did test $23.68 as far as for the low, but you'd want to see a continuation of this as the week progresses, which we literally only have like 2 more days. And as far as for the high is concerned at $24.96, I think it is very clear we do have a resistance area here right at the $25 level. Many are using this area to take some profits, and this is why. If it's able to actually get past 25, then I'm going to be looking forward to a move to around $25.43 and then seeing where we can go from there. But I do see there will be a lot more resistance if we're able to actually get to the 200-day at $26.16. If it decides to pull back now as far as breaking through that 23.68, then the next level to keep an eye on will be right around here, around $22.80. Again, and I've said this in a lot of my ChargePoint videos, I love adding to my long-term position when the stock is under $20. That's where I like to add. Anything above 20, I do not like adding whatsoever. If it does pull back, and maybe if it's around 21 and so forth, I'll maybe consider it. But for the most part, I love it under 20, and I know many of you were able to actually get into a position under 20, and now you're just riding the wave up. So let's see how ChargePoint performs for the rest of the week. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for ChargePoint. Scrolling down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So let's see here, as far as recent institutional activity from open new positions, we have for November the 2nd, Allworth Financial LP that purchased just over 1,300 shares. We also have Baker Tilly Financial that purchased just under 20,000 shares. And we also have Victory Capital Management that purchased just under 24,000 $25,000. We also have a closed position from Nelson Van Den Berk and Campbell Wealth Management Group. And we have a new position here for Benjamin F. Edwards Company Inc. that went in with just 100 shares. Even if we go back a little bit further to see for November the 1st, we have Osdell Financial Partners that went in with just over 10,000 shares. And keep in mind, these are just the filing dates. This is not the date that they actually purchased these shares. So now when we take a look at the short interest, the dark pool short volume ratio is at 49.31, and then for the dark pool short volume being just over 2.16 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, you can see the short shares availability is at 1.2 million, and then when we take a look at the short borrow free rate, it is at 0.56%. Now when we take a look now at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for November the 1st it was at 47.02, and then for November the 2nd, which was yesterday, being at 49.31. So ChargePoint actually does have short squeeze potential due to the fact that there's a lot of negative market sentiment around the stock. So this is why you see a lot of volatility, and why if you are going to be adding to your position for the long term, you want to be very strategic when it comes to your entries. And as far as for anyone who's trading it, there's definitely some opportunities in this play. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for ChargePoint. So we can see here on the inflow is 23.60, and then on the outflow is 24.30. When we take a look at the breakdown on the large, it was 0.94, on the medium it was 11.86, and then on the small it was 10.80. When we take a look at the outflow side, it was 0 on the large, on the medium it was 13.66, and then on the small it was 10.64. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, November the 3rd, look at that big green candle right there. We have 943.68. So even though we did end up having an outflow day, when we take a look further at the breakdown, it looked fairly even when it came to inflows and outflows on the small scale side, which tends to represent retail, because we had 10.80 versus 10.64. Not a big difference, but it was still an inflow. And then when we take a look at what was going down on the medium, we had a lot more selling that was going on. And then when we take a look at the large, which potentially can represent institution, they went in with a position, but we also had 0 on the outflow side. Now when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was right around 2.13%. And this is exactly what you want to see with a play when it comes to ChargePoint. Many people who are buying are holding on to their shares, and in regards to selling, you're getting very little of that, and you can see that clearly from the breakdowns. And one of the things that we want to keep in mind is what's going on inside of the environment as a whole outside of the stock market. I'll talk about that inside of the final thoughts. You know what? Let's just get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for ChargePoint, I'm still gonna have this as one of my high conviction plays. If you believe in EVs and you feel like they're gonna be playing an essential role 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, then this is the play I feel like you have to be in. Of course, you don't have to invest in it right away, but I feel that it's very key to make sure that you're maximizing your overall entries. And that's when it comes down to my strategy. I will not add to my position unless ChargePoint is under $20. I know many of you have heard me say that before in the past, and I'm going to stick with it. I don't care where the stock decides to end up going. If it does decide to make a move to the upside, so getting near to the $30 range and so forth, I will just accept it for what it is, because at the end of the day, this is a growth stock. It's going to have its ups and it's going to be having its downs. And when it's having its downs, that's where I want to go in there and buy up some shares. I do not want to be buying it while it's going on the highs. And the reason why this is important to know, not only are you able to maximize your profits in the end, but it also gives you better discipline. You don't need to FOMO, especially when you're going to be holding a play for a while. Another thing that I want to go over, there are also many who are inside of ChargePoint who are holding their shares. And that is of no surprise. We know as far as for the infrastructure bill is concerned, we're looking forward to seeing it actually get passed and fully go through, because that ends up happening. I could see ChargePoint gaining a lot of momentum. But of course, this is why it's important. You need to make sure you have your own strategy, and the best way to do this is to do your homework and to do your due diligence before investing in any company. So if you're in ChargePoint, this is why you got to be able to stomach all of the volatility that's in it, and that's why I make these videos to make sure you're prepared for that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.